All right, family, we have Ray, which will come up, and his topic is living the dream.
Nah.
42 years clean.
Ray. Yeah, I'm gonna move around. I don't do well sitting. My name is Ray.
Hey, Ray.
To all my brothers and sisters from another mother, we all got the same father, God Almighty.
Yeah. I agree.
One name, God. I'm gonna kind of mix it up because, you know, you're talking about living the dream. I thought when I first got here, that was kind of like working on getting my stuff back. You know, because I put it all in my arm. You know, my first marriage, I put it all in my arm, and I had some nice things, you know, and I was involved with the wrong people and all sorts of crazy shit, you know, but, you know, I thought I had survived, you know. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of what it was like, because, you know, it's always good to give some identification in the beginning when you speak, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like what happened, and it's kind of, what it was like is that identification. What happened is the 12 steps.
Right.
And what it's like now is living the program, principles, you know. And I'm going to talk about how that came about. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, in Fort Greene section of Brooklyn, New York. We ain't Brooklyn people in here. Yeah, up in Fort Greene projects, we got thrown out of the apartment when I was a kid because we didn't pay the rent. They threw all our shit out in the street, whatever shit we had, a couple mattresses and a chair. I don't know. And we were on welfare. My mom was a heroin addict. My dad was a gambling man. So most of his money went to gambling. I was probably a heroin baby. I didn't know that. I mean, they might have not even known it. You know. I had a lot of shame about that because I never used to talk about that. Because she was a whore too. You know, she was a whore. I'm sorry. I mean, she sexually abused me when I was real little. Took away my innocence when I was about 5 years old. And I blamed her for a long time, and I hated her for a long time until I got in recovery. Then I had to find a principle called forgiveness, and as I was learning to forgive myself, I learned to forgive her and my dad for who they were. They were God's kids too. You know, they say the apple don't fall far from the tree. I didn't want to be like my own man. Why the hell did I turn out like her? You know, same shit, you know. And before I came to Narcotics Anonymous, I spent a lot of time incarcerated. Most of my childhood, up into my teen years, and into my as a young man, in and out of, you know, just about every lockup in New York. I mean, Rikers Island when I was 16, Gladiator School was what I call the fight to keep your drawers on your ass so nobody takes advantage of that. Boston Avenue Youth House, I was there when I was 10, turned 11 in there. I couldn't read that good either, and I remember always sitting down in the rec room and watching TV, and they had a sign, talking only during a commercial. And I was talking to the kid next to me, and one of the counselors, you know, you stay there long enough, you become a counselor, you're a badass, you know. And, fuck, shut the fuck up, you know, and I'm like, could you read the sign? I'm like, I didn't want to tell him I can't, you know, but I didn't know what it said. So I had to ask him, what, I mean, I'm supposed to talk to him, you know, breaks in the TV, the commercials, you know. Like when it was like today, everything's electronic, you know what I mean? I was the remote control in my house. You know, my father say, change the channel. I'd get up and go change the channel. I was the remote control. You know, and we never owned a house. We never owned a house. We never had a cell phone. We never had a car. My old man hustled. We were on welfare. You know, we moved from one dump to the next dump, from one part of the hood to the next part of the hood. It didn't have fancy names like the barrio and the ghetto. It was called the fucking slums. That's where all the poor people live. Didn't matter what color you were, that's just where all the poor people live. You know? So that was part of my environment. See, for me, I believe I was a product of my environment. You know, I worship the winos, I worship the heroin addicts, you know. It was hard living in the projects, you know, and the elevator's broken, you gotta run up and down nice flights of stairs to get to the ground. And, you know, I don't know if many remember, but the first time I shot heroin, it was an eye dropper with a syringe with a tape on it and a rubber tire.
That's right.
And we were hooped. Don't get a bubble, man, don't get a bubble. What the fuck I know this about? She hit me the first time, she put a bucket next to the chair. I didn't know what the fuck pail was for. Ah, you know. I found out what the pail was for. She made me clean up the mess, you know. So just like I had to learn how to do that, I had to learn to do everything else. And, you know, and it's not specifically one drug. And see, it's getting to the point now where people say, well, you gotta have a clear and precise message of Narcotics Anonymous. Don't talk about the drugs. Fuck you, don't talk about the drugs. We're drug addicts. What are we supposed to talk about? That's part of our identification, you know? So coming up in that mess, you know, in and out, and halfway house, 1, 2, let's see, Jamaica, Queens, Flushing, Queens, Bayside, Queens, Eastchester, where Mary J. Blige from the project. I was in the halfway house up by there. 4 halfway houses by the time I was 18. Through the system on the YO program, youthful offender, you know, in and out, in and out. So I made a deal with the judge. You know, I would finish high school, and I would join the military. See, I went before the judge and I made him that promise, and then I broke it. So this time I really had to fulfill it. So there wasn't no like, maybe I'll go to Canada, or maybe I'll go here, but no. My dad was in the Marine Corps for 30 years. I guess that's where he learned how to gamble. He didn't drink, he just gambled. Gambled and win, you know? And I guess that's where it all started from. I came out of there and I went from the halfway house into the military, from the military into NOM. And I mean, at that time I was using IV. I was mostly doing what we call back in the day skin popping, under the skin, you know, better than mainline, you know. But once I hit NOM, it was all over. They had the best shit in the world, you know. And it's funny because, you know, I did all that shit and I got decorated over there and all this other bullshit. And they pitched that to me right before I left. And I thought they were looking for like syphilis or gonorrhea or some shit like that. I get to Oakland, California, once we got past all the hippies and the rotten eggs and tomatoes and shit, baby guns and all this other shit, you know. The MPs picked me up. Then we ordered 4th Presidio. I had a special court martial. And what they did was they stripped me 2 grades from P5 to PFC, took away my shit and cleared all my citations and everything. And this was my claim to fame as an addict. They gave me a general discharge under honorable conditions for drug addiction. Figure that shit out. It took me my first year clean is, that's, you know, I came back from NOM, so it was the usual. Right back to the block. Right back to the penitentiary. See, I took that trip upstate New York a couple of times as a juvenile. I went to Warwick State Training School, I went to Lincoln Hall, came back, Rikers, house of detention, the tombs of Manhattan, this one, that one, blah, blah, blah. And this is my first trip upstate. I get upstate, you know, we're playing cards one day, and I had a realization, you know, these rude awakenings, you know, they talk about. I'm playing cards with these motherfuckers. I said to myself, damn. Tell them, hey man, don't you remember me from B-Gon Movie, 11, 12? The same people I was doing time with when I was 10 and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, sitting up in the state. See, they had a place called Woodburn, and that's where they sent most of the addicts and alcoholics, okay? And it was medium security. I went from Mac to medium, screwed up in medium, went from Elmira to Woodburn, over to Napanock, which is Mac again, which was built in the early 1800s. It was a fortress. They had rats in that mother, they call them wharf rats. The chairs burned, if the chairs weren't nailed down, screwed down to the floor, they would have moved them. I mean, they looked like cats, you know? But you know, that didn't deter me. I got out, and the first thing I did when I got out of prison was, I had gotten married in that time. I had a good wife, I came from a good family. But like I said, I was a mess and I was caught up in a lot of shit, you know. I thought I had arrived, you know, with the diamond rings and Seiko watches and the gold chain with Jesus' head on it. And, you know, the silk socks, the gators, the lizards, stepping, you know, the heel toe cut on the pants, you know. I thought it was something. I really thought it was something. I guess I wanted to be a gangster, you know. But it was crazy, you know. And when I got out, you know, it's like the first thing I looked for when I got out, like a literature system, you know, the first thing to look for was a fix. You know, and sometimes in recovery, the fix is something different. It could be food, it could be gambling, it could be her. to be him. The 6 is different in recovery because we got that hole in us. Really, all we want to do is be loved, and that's the greatest principle that we can practice in Narcotics Anonymous, is to love one another.
That's it.
But that's what it's really all about, you know. So I come out, I step out of the bus depot with my fine threads from being in there, you know. I look up the street, it says, slashing sign says liquors, wines. I look down the street, it says pharmacy, drugs. So I run up there, I run to the drugstore, sign out a 4-ounce bottle of Robitussin, they see that's codeine if you don't know what it is. Swallow that 4-ounce bottle of codeine like they know tomorrow. Go up to the liquor store and give you a quarter Thunderbird. How many of you remember Thunderbird?
Ooh, I got my wings.
And then I ride the subway, you know. Then I fall, I nod down on the subway and the cop, transitory cops hitting on me with his little stick. Get up. You got an idea? I got my parole papers in my pocket. Get off my damn train. Get off my subway. Right over by Gowanus Red Hook section of Brooklyn, Smith and 9th Street. And by this time, my parents were dead. They were gone. I lost my mom 4 months after I came back from Nam, and I lost my dad 9 months after that, when I was on my way to prison. And he said, would you get yourself into this stuff? I said, no, I can handle it. Yeah, right, I handled it, all right. You know, 44 months later, I handled it, you know. And then after that, it was just, you know, everything kind of went south with the relationship. Yeah, I was married, but I wasn't really married. I was married to her, and I had this one, and I had that one, and this one, and that one. You know how that shit goes. And then, after that, I think it was it was October 1974 when I got out. And my son was born that November. I'll tell you a little story about the correctional system in New York. We used to go out on work release. And one of the corrections officers' brother owned a motel in upstate New York. And if you paid the right money, you can go hook up with your old lady. You could take the bus up to the hotel and you could spend an hour with her. And they were making money hand over fist because they were running about 45 people through their day at $100 a pop, maybe more. You know? And that's how she ended up pregnant, and that's how I ended up having my son. Then I divorced her and I had another kid with her because I couldn't leave it alone. That was after I got clean. I tried to get clean. And then I had to make up my mind, what am I going to do? You know. The first time I heard of Narcotics Anonymous was at the VA hospital in New York City. And the psych guy told me about a meeting in Elmhurst, Queens. And this, I think this was late 70, early 71. Now it's hard to be 70 because it was before I went away. Yeah, it was before I went away. And he had told me about that. And I remember going over to the hospital, and they had the security guard outside reading the paper outside the door, sitting there. And they were in the meeting, and they were reading out a little white book. And I looked at them, and they looked at me and said, fuck that shit, I ain't that bad. I ain't that bad yet. You know? But by 1975, well, everything went down. You know, my disease just kept progressing, and that's what it says. I'm just with some about progressive, fatal, and incurable. They don't give a shit how long you've been clean. Its main objective is to kill you. To take you back out. They ain't even no respect of longevity, anything else, spirituality, anything else. You know. So I decided, I tried detox, that didn't work because they pumped me full of Valium. I was like a lion in the cage for about 2 days, and the second night they made me go to an AA meeting. And I don't know, I think my wife showed up, I'm not really clear on that, or somebody showed up and gave my number to my house. And they introduced themselves, and they started coming to my house looking for me to take me to an AA meeting. But, you know, I went, but I was high. You know, I'd smoke a joint and drink some wine in the parking lot. I'd do a shot before they come. You know, I wasn't ready. You know, I don't think I was ready. I mean, I could feel the love that they were trying to give me and help me, but I took advantage of it, you know, took advantage of it, you know. That's what we do when we don't know any better. We take advantage of people, you know, and what ended up happening was I got to a point where I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired, I just said, well, maybe I just need to get out of New York, because the whole place is my shooting gallery. I'm gonna go south. I'm gonna go down to Florida. That way, at least if I die in the sunshine. And then I said to myself, well, wait a minute, that's where all the real drug addicts are, man. All the real alcoholics are down there, man. And I walked into an AA meeting on East Los Angeles in a place called the 12-Step House. And I lived outside of that clubhouse in my little Volkswagen for a long time. So I got a job at a body shop as a helper, and then I lived in a body shop. And I went to that meeting, I met my first sponsor. Now, he was scouting the rooms of AA looking for people like me and you. That's what he was doing. Here I am in my flannel shirt with the sleeves rolled down here, you know, hot as a motherfucker, sweating like a pig, big toxin, no treatment, coming off of methadone, coming off of heroin, Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, cheap wine and reefer. All at the same time, you know. Sick as a dog. It took me 3 days to drive from New York to Florida. That's how dope sick I was. You know, I drink water, I throw up. I had shit in a month probably, you know. I was just sick. And he found me and I picked up that was the end of April of 1976, and I picked up a white chip. And he introduced himself to me. He said, I'm Bobby B. And at first I thought he was gay. He was trying to hit on me. I figured I'll hustle a motherfucker for $10, you know. Who cares? You know? I'll hustle him, you know. And go get fucked up again. But I didn't, you know. He asked me if I had a sponsor. And I knew what that was like because I had been around the other fellowship. And I had a sponsor. And I stole the money from the group. And I stole his car, and I went down to the Bronx to the dope house. I left his car on the Cross Mountain Expressway. I was in the dope house for 3 days, getting high. And then I woke up one day and said, I mean, where did I leave that car? Fuck, you know? I went to find the car, and the car was sitting on the Cross Mountain up on top of milk crates, completely gutted. So I took everything out of the car. There was nuts and bolts and shit all over the road. I mean, I call them up, you know, they come down and save me. You know? But that's the kind of shit I was doing, you know. I did a lot of crazy shit the first 5 years I was clean. You know, I couldn't really get out of the game, totally get out of the game. I had all that child support and shit to my first wife. I wanted to get out of the game, but you know, it took time to get out of the game because they kept telling me either you'll change or you'll clean it. Well, you know, and I started watching the people I was in the game would fall, so I knew my time was coming. No. But I met Dave Off. He was from California, and no, Bobby B first, and Bobby cleaned me up. He helped me get my first year. I remember with 11 months clean talking about, damn. Man, I don't think I'm going to make it, Bobby. Bobby said to me, you're going to make it. I'm going to fucking stomp your ass. You're going to make it. You think I've been wasting my time with you all this time? And I was like, whoa, you know. But it was true. You know, he cleaned me up. He started the first Narcotics Anonymous meeting in the state of Florida, South Florida. It was the first one, the mainline group. There's another one down there called the Mainliners, but they're not us. We were the mainline group. And, giving him my first meeting. The next night after I met him down at that club. He said, well, I'm going up the road to beach. They'll be here about 7. I said, I ain't gonna be nowhere else. I'm living in the back. You know, like I'm going to a room, a hotel, or a house. No, I'm living in my car in the back. You know. And he took me to my first ending meeting. I walked in, I came in there and I looked around and I said, damn, you know, it was really strange. You know, it was different. You know, I have people say, hey man, welcome, I love you, man. I'm in my mind going, what the fuck you talking about you love me? You don't live in the whole land, piece of shit. Now why you saying you love me? You love me. I'm like, you know, I went through the flower power stage and the hippie shit. Oh, love beats and beats, my ass. But, you know. And he took me to that first meeting at PBI. And then we had about 3 meetings at that time. We had one at PBI, over at the church. Now the church they had a little, it looked like a trailer, but it was a house. Could have been no more than 14 feet wide and ran maybe about 60 feet long. And in the back was a little cubby, and that's where they had the bathroom and the coffee pot. And then they had box fans in the windows. And we all smoked in the meetings back then. So it didn't matter which side you sat on, smoke was the whole meeting. But it was different. And then I started to meet other people. We'd go to somebody's house and have a meeting, you know. So we didn't have a whole lot, but we started to try to start some meeting in West Palm, Delray. Then we got the clubhouse in, I think, late '78 up on Iris in Palm Beach. You know, we started moving on. Things started to shift. And I was able to get my first year. Now, he approached me with the book, which we didn't have at the time. We didn't have a book. We had 3 IPs when I got here. Recovery, Relapse, Another Look in the group, in the little white book. And the little white book really didn't give you any instructions on how to do step work. So the step work came out of the book Alcoholics Anonymous. Those who were our predecessors talked about it in our introduction in the first 3 4 for literature. That we need to be grateful to them for pointing the way, not to smash him and bash him when we're up here and all this other shit, you know. I know Bill Hughes, you don't have to tell me. I know he did psychedelics and he never changed his sobriety date, who cares? You know? But the thing of it is, you know, that's all we had and that's all that was available. So he approached me with the book and I said, I ain't ready for that shit, man. But then my next question is, how do you know when you're ready? He said, Ray, when the lions are on your ass, you're gonna know. So it didn't take much longer after that because I had left Florida. I went back to New York briefly for about 6, 7 months. And I got myself in a world of shit. Women-wise. You know what I'm talking about, gentlemen? You know what I'm talking about. I got my ex-wife pregnant. I got this sister up in Newport, Rhode Island pregnant. I got this little rich white girl who lived up the street from Paul Newman and his wife in Westport, Connecticut pregnant. All at the same time. So I was kind of like twisted like a pretzel. You know, I'm having your baby. I'm having your baby. Hell no. You know. And I went to see the guy who was my old sponsor from then. And what we were doing with Dave was we had a book study in his house and we had one NA meeting a week at his house. And the rest of the time we had to shuffle into AA young people, because that's where the addicts were. You with that addict alcoholic shit and all this other cross addiction shit, you know what else. But we were them, you know. And I asked Eddie, I said, man, you know, he said, man, you really need to do something different. You're going to get high again, man. And then I was thinking about maybe killing myself, you know, because I didn't want to get high again. I saw the damage that I've done. I had a moment of clarity, you know. And he said, I know somebody who can help you. And I knew as soon as he said it, it was going to be Dave on. Hey, Dave used to introduce himself as, my name is Dave Grizzly, and I'm an addict, believe it or not. You know? Dave's long gone. He's been dead a while now. But he's the one who carried the message to me. See, that's when the dream started. You know, I went through that 12-step process, had that spiritual awakening, and my life took on new meaning, purpose, and direction. Imagine that. You know, God had a plan for me. I didn't know what the plan was. I kept getting in the way. You know, I thought that, you know, I'll do what I want to do, and we'll be fine. The things will go out. You know, things will work out well. I mean, we do a lot of crazy shit when we clean up. You know, it takes a while to get out of the cobweb. So I came to it. Then I came to believe. My spiritual awakening the second time happened with 12 years clean. See, the first time I went through the steps was 16 months. I kind of blazed over the second step, and I sounded, you know, I'm good, man. I'm in the hands of God. Hey, I'm good. Crazy as a bedbug, you know. The second one is the one that led to my spiritual awakening. You know, Shirley, David knows Shirley from Atlanta, and Scott Allison. Shoshone always used to say, Ray, a step a year. That's how it reveals itself to us, a step a year. You know, and that's what happened. I decided, you know, I was working with others and helping others, like our literature says, you know, helping others and taking them through the steps and, you know, staying on my toes, staying in the literature, staying on principle, staying on point. And, you know, I got to that place, you know, with myself that for the first time, I started to feel okay about myself because I was helping other people. You see, the real love, I didn't have the love in my house coming up, and you get some love on the streets, but, you know, we know how that is. What's in it for me, that type of love. My first real love was in my experience in Vietnam. That was my first real experience with love, because we meant what we said, and we said what we meant, you know. And we did what we had to do, you know. So if you're never in that situation, sometimes it's kind of hard to comprehend. It's like talking to somebody about addiction that's not an addict, you know. You don't know the closeness and the love that's there for another fellow human being, you know. And that was my first experience. Then coming here was the second, and then I started to realize what they were saying. Oh, I love you, and all this. You know, I started to feel that, you know. So I went through the steps. I went back to Florida, and I told everybody, "Don't call me Crazy Ray anymore." I took the 12 steps, and he said, "Okay, Crazy Ray." You know, I just got tired of them calling me Crazy Ray. You know, but it was true. You know, so I got in there. Things were still tough in Florida at that time. Meetings were still tough. People were, you know, really didn't kick off till like '79 with the literature committee in Miami and the working of the book and all this other good stuff started to come into play. You know, but my deal is, you know, I was clean over 6 years when the book came out. What was I supposed to do in the meantime? You know, wait for the book to be written. It's like The Green and Gold, which is an excellent piece of literature, but not to be met in an exhaustive study of our principles and traditions. Oh, yes, it is. How are we going to learn if we don't exhaust it? Okay. It took us 40 years to write The Green and Gold, and it was here in 1953 in the other fellowship called the 12 and 12. But it took us 40 years. We had a shift. You know, to me, the biggest growth in Narcotics Anonymous was 82 to 92. That was the mushrooming process in Narcotics Anonymous. That's when our fellowship grew the most, 82 to 92.
Crack.
That's what did it. It was the crack attack. And when I first started, I couldn't identify with them. I mean, they talk about falling around on the floor with shit that ain't there. And, you know,
That's right.
No, man. I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, so my sponsor had to ride me around down there in the dorm and show me what it was like. You know, while they were walking the streets and all that. I had to see it with my own eyes to understand what it was doing to people. You know, I thought it was like Coke. I only did Coke in one time in my life. I don't like Coke. Fuck Coke. You know, I like shit to put your chin in your top pocket. That's what I like. I ain't got time to be blinking and shit. I'm like, just shut my eyes. So, you know, I went back to New York, had that experience with David, came back to Florida, and I'll fast forward a little bit here. I got a resentment, got my coffee pot, and I said, I'm going with a real NA. It's California. Yeah. So instead of going to Los Angeles, I went to San Diego. It was worse than when I left. They had 2.5 meetings in a week. No people of color. I left Florida, there was Trey, Angela, Johnny, Cuban George, and me. I said, we're the only people of color. That was it. I go to California. I was like, wow. And that's where I met my sponsor, Don, who just passed away back in January on the 27th. He was my sponsor for 40 years. And Don had a lot of love. He told me a lot about love, you know. And, we did a lot of work while we were there, starting meetings and going where nobody was supposed to go, last East San Diego, because it's the hood. They told me the same shit when I got here. You don't want to go down near the Southwest corner, they'll kill you. Shit, I got nothing but love in the Southwest corner. I got nothing but love out of the fellowship. I'd say like the 10 best years of my recovery was spent in Atlanta, Georgia, because it was during that mushrooming process, you know. The growth was there, the growth was happening, you know. And we got to sponsor addicts, you know. Oh, thank you for sharing. We got to, I told you to turn it off 3 days ago.
3 days
My bad. But, you know, it's just one of those things, you know. I got here, you know, and brought Sterling in, I brought Jules in, I brought David in. whole bunch of us. Van G was the only brother in the fellowship in 1982 telling me he don't like white. I said, that's cool, just don't call me whitey, motherfucker. We good. I said, what were you doing? I said, I told them that, you know, we're going to the southwest corner, you know, going down up Ashby and Simpson down there. So Franco and Don Richardson, the late Don Richardson, they had their meeting and they sent me down there and said, Ray, can you take this meeting? I said, glad. Because I had just went through that in California. You know, I was doing meetings in the Mexican community, you know, Chula Vista, National City, Otay Mesa, trying to start me. I don't speak, I speak a little Puerto Rican, a little bit of Mexican. That's all I speak. I know all the bad shit to say. Start meetings there. Then they told me about East San Diego. They went up in because that's where everybody was going to get heroin. So I went up in East San Diego. And we got a little storefront. Kind of reminded me of the Holland Club, but it was smaller than the Holland Club. And Preacher Man had it. So what he was doing, you know, we're doing NA meetings, and you know, he's pushing the religion, he's stealing people out of our fellowship, and bringing them to Jesus and all that other shit. Do what you got to do, man. You know, I told him this ain't no Coke to Christ program.
Coke to Christ.
Yeah, so you know, I spent the time in California, 79 to 82. Then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I got to meet some beautiful people. Got a lot of love here. I'll never forget the love I got here. It'll always be a big part of my heart. You know, the love that I found here in Katsinawas. And then one day I had a bright idea. I guess we decided to move. Yeah, to move away. I think it was time because I saw what was happening. You know, the beast was coming back around. You know, the beast was bringing his ugly head back around. You know. And at that time, late 80s, early 90s, religion was running through the roof of Narcotics Anonymous like it was going out of style. Yeah. People walking in with their Bibles and shit at an NA meeting. Got the kufis on, talking about the Quran.
Yeah.
Said to me, man, all the brothers are leaving the fellowship for the nation. I said, don't worry, man, just open running back in. Don't run back in. You know. You can't get the cart before the horse. So step 11 is where it is because that's where it's supposed to be. You got to get all the work. You got to get all the other shit out of the way before you get to step 11. Oh. See the shortcomings, the defects of character, the inventory, you know, the giving it up, you know, in step 5. The forgiveness in step 7, you know. Forgiveness in step 8, the discipline in step 9. You know, the humility and the courage, you know, to move past. Right. See, so I had to quit thinking about my relationship with my parents and my relationship with my brother and my relationship with my sister. You know, I had to move forward. My sister came back in my life 39 years after she was gone out of it. You know, I was getting my head worked on down at Salisbury at the VA hospital in Salisbury. I put myself in after 30 years clean with, 30 years clean for 6 weeks of treatment. The post-traumatic stress disorder. Not PTSD. I needed to do something different. By that time I've had, I had been married twice, divorced twice, and married again. So there was definitely something wrong with me. So it was interesting. I mean, coming to that place and getting to that place of, you know, like I said, again, I thought living the dream was like, man, you know, I met my second wife out in Cali, man, she got pregnant, we had my daughter Rena, we moved to Atlanta, I got my first real job I ever had in my life, made $30,000 in 1982, it was like making 100 to me, you know what I mean? And 6.5 years later, she said it was over. We're done. When a woman says it's over, guess what? It's over. Until then, you got a chance. And once they say it's over, baby, it's over. You know. And that was a heartbreaker, and that was tough. You know, because I had went through that with the other one. What I realized in that second marriage was trying to compensate for everything I didn't do in the first marriage. super dad, super pool man, super lawn maintenance man, super laundry man, super house cleaner, super take care of the kids, plus work 2 jobs, you know. And I gave, and I gave, and I gave, and I gave. It was like pouring your love into a bottomless pit. All he kept saying was, more! You know? But I learned, you know. I learned from the experience. I mean, I don't disrespect her. I mean, I love her because she's the mother of my children. And that's it. It doesn't mean I want to socialize with her, hang around with her, or anything else. You know, she's got 40 years in the other fellowship, or 41 years in the other fellowship she just had in January. And then I got married again and had 2 more kids because I'm a creature of habit. 2 with the first, 2 with the second, 2 with the third. And that's why they put that in the literature. We're creatures of habit. We don't like to get off the beaten path. Now, my wife's the other way. She'll get off the beaten path. She'll find a shortcut. I'm saying, fuck that shortcut. I'm going the long way. I don't like to get off the beaten path, but she'll get off the beaten path. So I learned something when I ride with her. Besides, oh no! And we got 2 beautiful boys, and all the kids have done well. You know, it doesn't matter how much money I had, or how many houses I had, how many cars I had, how many dogs, how many kids. I mean, that don't mean nothing. What means is, what really counts is I got you and you got me. That's what really matters. So, you know, today where I am with 42 years is I got a home group. I'm alternate GSR from my home group. I'm the RCM from my area, once again. Going to the region, okay. I got 12 sponsees, very diverse, black and another color. But I like to keep the diversity going, you know. I like that. And I'm quite content and quite happy in my life, in my marriage, and in my recovery. Wow. You know, that's the whole thing. I mean, I am happy. And I'm just as fucking on fire today about Narcotics Anonymous as I was in the beginning. Like my man shared earlier, I show up early and I stay late. We were chilling out there last night from, what, 9:15 to 20 to 10, quarter to 10, you know, after the meeting. But sometimes those are the best meetings after the meeting. Remember Sterling remembers, we used to have those little meetings outside, those little chairs, and we hang around an hour or so, wait for the next meeting. Those were the ego deflation chairs. It was what was that, preschool? 3 years old, 2 years old, tiny little chairs, and we used to sit in them. Ego deflation, that's what we used to call it. Ego deflation chairs. So it's fun, man. It's fun. We all make a contribution, and that's what I realize now, is that God had a plan for me. And this was the plan. So he gave me the gift. Dave R. gave me the gift and said, pass the gift on. Give what you found here with me about yourself in these steps and pass that on. Because that's where the recovery starts. That's that process. That's where the character building starts. That's where the letting go of the old ways and the old ideas and the old playgrounds and everything. That's where it starts to happen. But you got to give yourself time. That's why the literature says we didn't become addicted in one day, so remember, easy does it. Because addicts nowadays, they want everything, man. It's all, you know, they ain't got me the remote to go change the channel. Everything's digital and shit. You know, they call that progress. I don't know what the hell they call it. You know, people don't talk to people no more. No. You know, nobody talks to anybody anymore. I'll text you, no, motherfucker, you gonna call me. I'm gonna respond. You ain't texting my ass. Right. Yes. You know, but that's just the way I am. You know, I'll shoot one. I'm just doing a little bit because I'm trying to move into the 21st century. I'll do a little bit. I'm still a little there's one letter, I. You know, I try to do a little, but not much. I don't make that my thing. I'm still a phone person. Yeah, that's right. I'm still in person. I want to feel you, man. I want to see you. I want this, you know. That's what I want. I want to hug you. I want to feel the love. You know, I want to give you love and I want to feel love. You got to get it both ways. It's got to go both ways. Yeah, but you got to stay here in order for all this to take place and for all this to happen. It don't happen overnight. So, you know, I'm not one of those, you know, what I was thinking about it is, yesterday I was saying to myself, what really rubs me the wrong way are people in Narcotics Anonymous come here and get their life back together and then they never come back. That's right. That really rubs me the wrong way. If they do come back, they should just put a stamp on their head, take her. You know, take her. You know, too busy with this. Well, I got wife and kids, I got a new job, you know. I mean, I always found time for me. I always found time for the addict to steal stuff. 'Cause I was the addict who steal stuff at that time. I needed the help, you know. I mean, I was talking about, you got nothing else to do. Shit. What am I gonna do if I don't come here? You know, what am I gonna do? You know, if I don't come to narcotics now, how am I gonna grow spiritually? Because here's where I learned to practice the principles in all my affairs. I had to learn to do it in here first before I could take it out there. If I couldn't get along with you, how am I supposed to get along with them? What do we used to call them? The earth people? What are they, Martians or some shit? The earth people. They're just human like us. They're suffering from the human condition. You know, they got problems just like we got problems. So how can we help them through? So, you know, it spreads, it gets bigger. The circle gets bigger in the world than in here. But you gotta start somewhere, and this is great. You rebuilt me is what you did. Everything I am, everything I ever will be, I owe to narcotics. I just continue doing what I'm doing. You know, my sponsor passed, and I talked to my sponsor about my new sponsor, Neil. You know, he said, you better get a sponsor, you don't get loaded, motherfucker. You know, that's what he told me. You better get a sponsor, you know. And he knew it, you know, and I had to. I'm not gonna go without a sponsor thinking I know some shit.
Right.
That's the worst 2 words an addict could use clean is, I know. That shit'll kill you. I know.
I got you.
So the longer I stay, the less I know. But I got a good idea. That's what I tell people. I just got a good idea, you know? I know what time it is. The only difference between me and the newcomer is most likely I've been where you're going. If not, call somebody else. That's the only difference. You know, we all have our own experiences, but we're more alike than we're different. That's what tells us in our literature to look for the similarities and not the difference. Because we're joined at the hip, you know. Thank you. Appreciate it.